friends, it's been a hot minute. My name is Mickey. This is my channel about cross stitch, and I'm glad you were here to join me today. It's been actually about 2.5 months since I did my first Flosstube, and things got a little crazy after that. So I'm back, and it's a bright sunny day here in Northern California, and the lighting is great, so I thought this is the best time to just jump in and catch up. So I have a lot to talk about. I have some finishes, I have some previous finishes, I have a very special FFO that I'm going to share with you, and progress on a lot of different things that I've been working on, and then a brief shop update. So I'll leave that for the end. Let's get on with it. So I have the infamous Flosstube itchy nose right now. Sorry about that. It's allergy season. All right. One of my previous finishes is the Mend block from Hands-On Design. I stitched this during lockdown for COVID and put a little note on the bottom about that. So I love it. It sits on the shelving right next to me, and it gets used as a pincushion. It has the wool felt topper on it. And it was the called floor floss and fabric, which came in a kit, and it's the first block that I've done. And if you're not familiar, you stitch the top, you stitch the side band, and all of the pieces get outlined in a back stitch along a specified size. And when you do it correctly and the size, the number of stitches is correct, then when you whip stitch it together around the edges, it turns from a flat piece of fabric into a lovely block, and then it's stuffed with fiber fill. And I have the pins that were designed by just another button company that accompany it. Of course, one decides to turn the other way, but anyway, I'm really happy with it. It gets used every day when I'm stitching, and I love the design. And I'm probably going to do some more of these because they're so much fun. All right. Put that back where it belongs. And then I have a needle roll, and it seems to have gone for a walk. Where did it go? I have things stacked up in front of me, so pardon the rustle. Oh, there it is. Okay. I knew it was here. This is a needle roll from Shepherd's Bush, and this is the Patriotic one. Again, this is another one that I'd like to do a bunch more of these and have them for different seasons and holidays. So it gets stitched on the linen, and then you hem stitch the edges right here, and the instructions in the little booklet are phenomenal. This again came as a kit, so fabric, floss, the ribbon, and the little flag charm that goes on it, and I just love it. And there's also a few beads. along here. So this was a lot of fun to do as well. Another thing that I'd like to do more of. And yeah, another fun thing. And then the last previous finish is called Do Your Best. And this is a Lizzie Kate kit that I got from 123 Stitch. It is no longer available. But it's just a really cute little set. I have the strawberry. This was my first strawberry, you know, with plaid wool felt or gingham wool felt, and a cute scissor charm. This is a stork scissor, and this is another thing that goes up on my shelf. So there's that. Earlier this year, I finished all of the stitching for the Deck the Halls strawberries from Blackbird Design. So it's this little booklet. It's a tiny booklet, and each one is shown as a strawberry, and then the very clever Barb and Alma would make a photocopy of the stitched item and mount that either on a tray or in a box or some other very snazzy way to make use of the stitch design in a different way. Let's see. Yeah, this is another one where they've done this similar. So let me show you those. They're all very pretty, and I'm excited to have some time to go ahead and make them into strawberries. In no particular order. This is the partridge in the pear tree. And I did them with the called for floss, which was mostly Weeks. Excuse me. And then the called for fabrics. And I think there was some Weeks and some Picture This Plus. And as I'm looking at these, I'm noticing that there's some back stitching I need to go in and do before I FFO them. The swan, there's a line that delineates the top and bottom of the swan's bill, so that needs to be done. And then on this house, it needs some back stitching to delineate the side and the front of the house. So we'll very carefully go back and take care of those things before I work on finishing them into strawberries. So that's the collection, and I'm looking forward to having them ready for the holiday season this year. Probably start working on the finishing over the summer. All right. So next I have a couple of things that I finished between now January and today that I just thought I'd show. So this is from Jim Shore. It's a Mill Hill kit, and it's called Owl Gnome. And you might be able to see some of the glisten from the beads. There's some larger ones here and little tiny ones in his beard. And there's some purpley ones up here in the hat. So this was fun to stitch on. Yeah, so he's a cute guy. I'll work on putting some felt backing on it and some sort of hanger, and then he can go on my Christmas tree. The other thing I've been working on intermittently amongst all the other things that I've talked about. So this is the Tiny Town, Big Hearted Tiny Town. And this is on a small 9x13 piece of I believe this is Vintage Country Mocha. I had started this on a pink, very pale pink opalescent, and it just wasn't working. Everything just got washed out, so I switched it over to this. And then you'll notice I have another one at the bottom. So this is Harvest Tiny Town. And just as a commentary on these, I'm planning to make drums out of these. Out of all of them that I stitch, and so I know that there's very little margin needed at the bottom and at the top, so I felt really comfortable stitching them back to back, side by side, if you will. Yeah, so they will head to the finishing table soon. I'm excited to learn how to do a drum, and I'll show you how they come out. And just as a side note, this is a great way to sample small pieces of fabric, and knowing that you can do two of them on one piece, it's a huge savings. I stocked up on several pieces like this to do all of the tiny towns that I had in my stash at the time, which was in January. Now, of course, there are a few others, but each piece was $6 or $7, so to get two fully stitched objects out of one piece of fabric that's that inexpensive is a really good way to economize. If you're looking to be able to stitch more, that's one way to do it. All right, let's get into WIPS and HEIFR board and Book of Days. So I did keep up. So this was my January Book of Days. Lots of notes on what I worked on. This was February. This was March. And then we're into April. So my, oops, things are falling. My HEIFR board calls in February were Let Love Rain, which I have in this bag that I got from a D-Stash site. And here is the chart for the picture of that. It's coming along nicely. I am stitching this as a commemorative piece for my 40th anniversary, which was in 2022. Obviously, it didn't get all done during that year. It was a busy year for us. 2 of our children got married, and one was a destination wedding in Ireland. The other was in the Monterey area, down along the coast. So we were quite busy. There was lots of wedding stitching to be done. So this is where I'm at. I think the last time I showed it, I was finishing up the berry bowl and the butterfly here. So what I've done is I've worked on the border, working my way down, and then I will start in soon on the next section, where there's a house and the couple and a cartouche where I can put a date. And I'm also going to, somewhere on there, fit in the dates that my 2 children got married. So it's kind of a special year for a family. So yeah, slowly but surely making progress on that. And I'm a floss away bag person, so I know they're very hard to be able to show. These are the floss. For this piece, there are 2 weeks, and the rest is DMC. And I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count salt rock from Color and Cotton. So that one will get some more attention very soon. So then the other February call was Spring Knotgarden. Picture is very hard to see because it's a digital image, but there you go, that's what it will look like. Here it's stitched on a white background, and I didn't really, or depicted on a white background. I didn't really care for that. So I went with a Zweigart linen called Blue Spruce. And this is where I'm at. I'm actually currently working down here. That's the bottom. And because it's the bottom, I can flip it the other way and continue to work on it. And the stitches will still cross the right way. So there's a lot of empty space here. That's all going to get filled in with back stitching and some specialty stitches that I wanted to hold off on, and there's a lot of beading that goes into this one as well. So that was February. And during March, my two calls were Prairie Schooler Santa, let's see, it was 1991, which is this one. And so I have that underway here. And since I have this out, I've also been working on this one. And then for April, I've been working on this one. This was April's HEIFR board call. So HEIFR board is like WIPGO, but it's administered by the Floss, Bossin cousins. And these are, I'm doing 1/1 on Vintage Country Mocha. It's a 25 count Lugana. And again, I have these in this cute bag. It's a little bit bigger bag because it has the box bottom, and so it's a lot of floss, a lot of different colors, so it's really handy to have them all together. And I have some more backup colors, so this works really well to keep it all organized. All right, and then my other HEIFR board call was to FFO, a project, which is what I had picked this particular one because it had been sitting in my drawer of shame for way too long. Those, if you know, you know. So I finished my Stitcher's Heart, which is by Hands-On Design. It's a lovely box that I painted and put a little bit of wax on it to give it a distressed look. And so this says, "Needle and thread, may they never part. It's the key to unlock my Stitcher's heart." Sorry, I'm having to read that backwards. So this was 32 count platinum linen and Lady Dot trim. So, and then inside the box, when you get the directions from the Hands-On Design website, there's also the availability of printing out this cool 1920s paper. So Kathy Haberman provides that file. I had to print it on 8.5 by 14 to make it big enough to go around. So there's two strips there that overlap and go around the sides of the box. And then there's a little padded fabric for the bottom. Gets mounted on a hexagon shape. And I picked that color from my fabric stash. And then there are a few other items in there that go along with it. This is a sweet little pin cushion that is designed to look like a tomato. So it's stitched and assembled similarly to the block. So the opening is down here, and these lines get whip stitched together. It's another one where you do the back stitch on each side first, and then those two back stitches gets on either side get whip stitched together. So you did 3 of them all the way, and then the 4th one partial, and then it gets stuffed. And I just freehanded the leaves for the tomato, and then took a little piece of the felt and rolled it up and put some stitches in it on the back to make the stem. And then with a very long needle you fasten it down by stitching down into the pin cushion to the bottom, and then back up again and pulling it taut, and it cinches it in a little bit. And then there's a little strawberry. It's made out of a wool felt ball and some felt leaves and a piece of cording that I made, and then it's just pinned in under the leaves. And then I just added a safety pin with some vintage buttons that were in my mom's collection. This back one is actually a fabric covered button. I'm not sure what's underneath, but and then it has little metal buttonholes. Anyway, so that I thought that was kind of a cool thing to add to it. Little ode to Mom. And then this is the scissor fob. There's the front. And there's the back. It says my stitcher's heart and the date. Just a little fiberfill filling on it, and a piece of cord that I made from one of the flosses that was in the, I think this is Red Barn, maybe. Anyway, so I made the cord, and it'll go on one of my pairs of scissors. And then the last item is this little pouch, and I had to do a little finagling because I stitched this side too close to the edge of the fabric, so I had to add a little piece there on the side, which just kind of gives it a little bit of framing. And this holds the key to my stitcher's heart. And this is a waxer. So This one there's a cording that's intended to be through the holes, and so I need to find the right colors to finish that up. But for all intents and purposes, it's done. Use the same cording as the scissor fob. And that's that. So I'm really happy to have this done. It was a project that took me a little longer than I expected, but it was fun nonetheless. And it sits right up here on the shelf. Okay, the last thing I've been working on is related to a stitchers group that I belong to. So it's a group that met via a Facebook group, and I think it was the Homespun Needlework group that we were all members of, and one of them reached out and asked if we were interested in getting together to talk, and I responded almost instantly as soon as I saw it, and then we had 2 other people join us. So we've never met in person, but we do talk twice a month over FaceTime on Saturday mornings. Well, morning for me, kind of midday for the 2 people, or mid-morning for the 2 people that are in Texas, and early afternoon for the person that's in Pennsylvania. So this has been going on since 2021, I believe, possibly 2022. But yeah, we've been doing some stitch-alongs and getting together to talk. And you know, it's not just stitchy talk. We've become fast friends and support each other through difficulties and celebrate our victories and joyous occasions. So it's really just a lovely way to connect with others that are also stitchers. So one of the things we started at the beginning of March is stitching with friends, and I treated myself to a silk conversion on this one. I did a field trip in February to the U.S. headquarters of NPI Silks, which is in San Francisco. Prior to that, I had gotten together with another stitchy friend who lives in the city, and we met for coffee at a cafe in the Mission District, and sat and chatted for 2 hours, and towards the end got out our stitching, which is where I started this little guy because he was easy to take along. And it was just so lovely to meet with somebody in person and talk with them and commiserate on all the stitchy things. So just saying hi, Judy. I haven't forgotten about you. A little busy, But so after that meeting, I went to the NPI headquarters and bought myself the silks. And there's there's just 5 colors in this chart, so it was really easy to, and not terribly expensive to kit it up. So it has kind of a mid-range purple, a kind of dark turquoise blue-green color, a dark burgundy color, kind of goldy brown, and then a lighter purple lavender color. So this is where I am on that one. Sorry, it's not ironed. This piece of linen actually has a bit of a creasing in it. It's a mystery fabric. It's 36 count, but I don't know the color or the dyer of this one. I may have it tucked away somewhere, but offhand I don't remember. So yeah, and this is in one of the project bags that I made, and it's a little bit of a throwback. So when my children were small, my mom sewed some Halloween costumes for them, and one of the costumes was a clown costume, and the body of it was made out of this fabric, and then it was trim and a big old collar that went around that was made out of this fabric. I thought it was fun to have a little bit of that cheeriness in my project bags. All right. So that's my show and tell as far as stitching goes. I have a little bit of a shop update. Some things I've been doing. This is a strawberry basket, strawberry style. If you remember the cardboard or the paperboard baskets, that strawberries and other berries used to come in. They're shaped pretty much like this. So these are strips of fabric that have been reinforced and then woven together. So I have these in my shop. It's Mickey's Crafty Bags. And they just make a really cute display for strawberries, other small items. It could be used as a place to keep threads, or an Ort container if you wanted to, but with a little filling in the bottom and a few strategically placed strawberries, it would make a really cute display. So I have this bee fabric, and I also have some that are light green with white polka dots, kind of reminiscent of those green cardboard strawberry baskets that we used to have. Am I dating myself here? Anyway, if you're interested, I'll leave a link down in the description box. And then I started making some needle books. These happen to be blackbird fabric. So when it's closed, it looks like this. And then open it up. And it folds open like this. So these labels are little sayings about sewing and needlework. And then if you open it one more time, that's what the inside looks like. So you put your needles here, and there are 4 pages total. And then there's a little pocket here where you could put some scissors, some a button card, some bobbins with floss or thread on them, some small spools of thread. You know, just make it a little traveling sewing case. So these labels, as I was saying, I printed onto muslin using my inkjet printer, and then they go through a fixative process which makes the ink permanent on the fabric. So they're just some funny little sayings and a little bit of humor. And then here's a similar one, also blackbird fabric. This is the threads that bind fabric, and it's quilted together on the outside. Again, the little sayings and the pages. So the inside lining is also wool felt, so if you wanted to use this part for some pins or more needles if you needed, that would be perfectly fine as well. Again, the pocket. And then it rolls up nicely, compactly. It's just a matter of winding it around once and then securing the ribbon on the button. And then something completely different, again a needle book. This is also muslin on the outside and on the inside. That's been printed and processed with the fixative process so that the print is permanent on the fabric. So this one just has a little ribbon. Tie it in a bow. And then open it up so you have 2 pages here for needles. It's just a really sweet little needle book to add to your kit. So when you go to an event, a stitchy gathering, you have all your needles together and some counting pins. If that's how you roll. So I need to do some shout outs, and I've written down, because I didn't want to miss anybody. I do have plans going forward. I've finished the first poll for April HEIFR board, which was the Prairie Schooler Santa. And then I need to do 5 days on Spring Knotgarden. And then if time allows, I have another tiny town kitted up, the Honey of a Tiny Town, and I'll start on that if there's enough time. All right. Some floss tubers that I'd like to shout out. Christy and Callie, Floss Bossin cousins, because they're so funny and entertaining. Lori, Cross Stitch Cats and Chaos. Lori is working on an adaptation that a friend of hers designed for her. It's along the lines of a Mirabilia, but it's Princess Leia that she's doing. It is going to be stunningly gorgeous. I can't wait to see another update and watch her progress and see it brought to completion. I've been watching Carol Saltbox Stitcher, of course, and Sherry, the Colorado Cross Stitcher, Shelley of Antique Needleworkers, who at the end of February had a, was it February? Yes, it was February. I'll explain in a moment why time is just running away from me. And Shelley, Antique Needleworkers, and she hosted a Zoom call. She did a fantastic job, and it was great to be able to talk with and meet other stitchers. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Can't wait to see that, Shelley. All right, Missy and Kathy, Two Needles Pulling Thread, who are in the countdown to their retreat. I wish them all the best. Can't wait to hear about all the fun they've had there. Liz and Deb, Country Stitchers. Helen D, always an inspiration for finishing. Carolyn of Seazook Stitch. and Chris of Crisscross Stitch. And then I can't be remiss. There are a few local Bay Area and California stitchers that I'd like to shout out. Carolyn and Anna of Curious Crafters, and Katie Strachan, who's here local in the Bay Area, and Olivia B., who you all know as Olivia B. on Flosstube and Hillside Rookery. Hi, ladies. So I've kind of gone a little bit out of order of what I planned, but Carolyn and Anna mentioned a group of stitchers called the NorCal Stitchers, and they have gatherings every few months. There was supposed to be one in March, but it had to be canceled because the room where they normally meet got some sort of water damage, and so they had to cancel it. But I'm hoping that the April one will still take place. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but Carolyn talked about the meeting on one of her floss tubes, and I think she went in January, and I'm looking forward to being able to meet also local stitchers. So I'm waiting anxiously to know when that will take place. All right, I think that's it for me today. Again, please like and subscribe, do all the things, as Sarah says. Oh, Sarah, how can I forget Sarah? She's also local. Sarah Stitchy Spot. Wonderful, wonderful stitching and entertaining, and just an inspiration in everything that she gets done. So, as Sarah says, do all the things. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, share the video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below, and I'd be happy to answer. And I will do my best not to make this a quarterly event, but a monthly event. That's my plan, is to do the floss tubes on a monthly basis. All right, I'm going to say goodbye and wish you all happy stitching, and I'll see you next time. Hi again. I promised to tell you why I've been so busy the last month, 2 months and a half. I have been working with a trainer for several years, and working on strength training and fitness. And so, at my request, we've started a training program at the beginning of March that will prepare me for competing in powerlifting competitions. So my life has become very busy with 5 per week gym sessions. And interestingly, they leave me invigorated and exhausted at the same time, which I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how I feel. So out of the 5 days, 3 of them I'm working on the 3 big lifts that are part of a competition, which are squats, bench press, and deadlifts, and all of those done with a barbell. So I'm working on building my lifting capability in those three, what they call the big three. And then I also work on some other accessories type lifts or strength building movements, push-ups, cable flies, barbell overhead press. If you don't know, a barbell weighs 45 pounds. So being able to hold it and press it up above your head and back down many times in succession, and 5 sets. It's very tiring. And various other movements, and then the other 2 days are dedicated to doing some cardio, and that could be treadmill, Stairmaster, rowing machine, and then some stretching and core strength workouts. It's a lot. So it's been keeping me very busy and worn out when I get home. And so if I'm not sewing or stitching, I'm at the gym. And just thought I'd throw that in there because I said earlier that I was going to talk about it. So I'm going to add this little piece in at some point in the video. All right, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.